Hello, free people. Welcome to today's daily dose of digital encouragement. Hi, my name's Frank Walker. I lead our 20-somethings group, and I also help lead our Next Steps discipleship track here at Freedom Church. As I'm sure many of you do, I get a great deal of encouragement from digging into the Word, gaining a better understanding of how ultimately everything points to Jesus. New and Old Testament, pivoting on the birth, life, death, and resurrection of our Messiah. When I was asked to share a daily dose, the first word that God spoke to me was Pentecost. Let's read about that in Acts 2, verse 1. When the day of Pentecost had come, they were all together in one place. And suddenly there came from heaven a noise like a violent rushing wind, and it filled the whole house where they were sitting. And there appeared to them tongues as of fire distributing themselves, and they rested on each one of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit, and began to speak with other tongues, as the Spirit was giving them utterance. Now there were Jews living in Jerusalem, devout men from every nation under heaven. And when this sound occurred, the crowd came together, and were bewildered, because each one of them was hearing them speak in his own language. They were amazed and astonished, saying, "Why, are not all these men who are speaking Galileans? How is it that we can hear them each in our own language, in which we were born? We hear them in our own tongue speaking of the mighty deeds of God." Why were there so many nations gathered in Jerusalem on this day of Pentecost? Last week, Pastor Jenna talked about memorials. The Jews have several feasts or celebrations throughout the year that are memorials. They cause great numbers of people to come together to Jerusalem to celebrate at the temple. The Pentecost, or 50th day in Greek, was also a feast called Shavuot in Hebrew, the Feast of Weeks. There's more about that in Leviticus 23. This feast was a memorial to the harvest, but more importantly, a memorial to God revealing the law, or Torah, to Moses on Mount Sinai. So God shows us yet another tie between the Old Testament and New, coming together in this passage through the Holy Spirit. God speaks to Moses on the mountain and reveals his expectations of righteousness, a righteousness that man could not achieve on his own. But on this Pentecost, God, in the person of the Holy Spirit, speaks to the masses and tells of his love and redemption through Christ Jesus. He accomplishes our righteousness as our Redeemer, the true Passover Lamb. There's one more tie that the Spirit revealed to me. In Genesis 11 at the Tower of Babel, God confused the languages and scattered the peoples across the earth. At Pentecost, God removes the confusion. The Holy Spirit speaks to all in all languages. So as we approach Pentecost in 2020, it will be celebrated on May 31st this year. I hope you take some time to seek God's voice, to grow your relationship with the Holy Spirit, pray for a fresh outpouring of His Spirit in your life, in the church, and in our world. Let's pray. Almighty Father, thank you for your Son. Thank you for your glorious plan. And thank you for your Spirit, your dispensation of power to each of us to accomplish your will, to change the world around us in Christ's name, to call out the gospel, to be a light to the world. Just let us all pray together this in your name and in your Son's name. Amen. Thank you all for sharing a bit of time with us today, and I hope you have an awesome day.